What is going on, Lunatic Fringe? Guys, we're doing a giveaway. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Our giveaway, Terra Casino. Put your username for Terra Casino down in the comment section down below. Do it today, and you could qualify to win up to $200 in funds to play on terracasino.io. Now to our important stuff for the day. Let's talk about what's going on in this ecosystem. We're going to do this. I'm blind today. We're just going to look around and we're going to see, is there anything that's really going on here that's going to help us out tremendously? Is there a reason for a massive pump or anything like that? We're going to check it out. First of all, Trobits burned 170,000 yesterday. It's a pretty decent number. Again, we want to get this up, and the way that you do that is coming over here and engaging with these articles. You can see they're putting more Terra Luna Classic and more SHIB related content over here so that you have and are updated on what's going on in the ecosystem. So check it out today. Now, as for news, I've gone through this. There's just really not a lot to go over because there's not really a whole lot of proposals that are moving the needle. There's an issue with Kwon right here. Today marks a crucial day for Kwon. This legal showdown has massive implications for the future of the Terra Lunk ecosystem. The hearing, delayed due to new evidence, centers around a massive 4 terabyte data file that includes emails, device records, and financial transactions. Prosecutors allege fraud tied to Terra's $60 billion collapse in 2022, while Kwon denies those accusations. So the new evidence submitted, they presented 4 terabytes of data, which includes personal and corporate emails, FBI collected evidence from Montenegro, SEC investigation findings and trading records, and Kwon's legal team is reviewing this evidence, delaying proceedings and requesting more time. Kwon, who remains detained, continues to defend himself through the lawyers. He maintains that what's done in the dark will come to light, hinting at his strategy to counter fraud allegations and shed light on Terra's collapse. So, could this be something that's going to do anything for us? Now, well, first of all, let's talk about this. Was and still is about 1 million people that are invested in Terra Luna Classic. We're not losing really people. Engagement is down for things like these videos or engagements on Twitter. You know, the engagement is down, but that's a general trend across the entire crypto ecosphere. So this is not something different than what's really happening to the entirety of crypto right now. There could be some opportunity for upside. If Kwon is found innocent in some way, if there's some path forward for him, then that could be good for Terra Luna Classic. If he goes to prison or is arrested or further, then it could be bad, but it won't be as bad as it would be really, really good if it was discovered that he was not, in fact, the bad actor in this space. Now, we do know that he was the bad actor in May of 2021, when he got the help of Jump Crypto and Kanav Korea to help fund the repeg of Terra when it depegged down to, I want to say, like 92 cents at that point. So that's an important piece to it. And we know that they were the ones that led to the eventual collapse of the ecosystem by selling off massive amounts at single entry after asking Kwon to buy Bitcoin. So we know that there's a path there where, something happened. The question is really, what did Kwon know? How did he react? What does the evidence really indicate? Prosecutors are just looking to make a case. They just want to win. They're not really worried about what the truth is. They're worried about what they can prove. And that's not the same. So this could be a good move, and we'll have to see as it comes to pass. But it looks like they're looking to review this data a little bit longer, and then we'll have some clarity on what's going on. All right, in 24 hours, I'm using Lunk, USTC, Garuda X, and Hera Food, Juris, Terra Fun, Cookie, Lunk, Pepe, LNC, CW Lunk, Lenny Lunk. The change down about $4. So not a whole lot of movement, not a whole lot of surprise bounce has come out of anything right now. So again, we're just kind of in the flow of the market right now, fingers crossed, hoping for the best. I'll keep you updated if anything happens. 4 days left on the phased approach to establishing USDC. So I do think that that might be one that's going to pass right there. Again, the only no that you have at this point, Happy Caddy Crypto. Not sure what that's about, but it's Happy Caddy Crypto. Who knows? So we don't want progress. I mean, I guess that's the only thing. You don't want progress. You want that. You want the purity of decentralization. A place that nobody can visit because it doesn't even have a website. That's the goal. And look, admirable goal if that's what you're looking for. No leadership, is purely decentralized. But let me just look. They've been running with you right now for 3 years. 3 years. We need to be incredibly decentralized. End of story. Full stop. That's where we need to be. And this is the result. Now, in case you're not seeing it, from up here to all the way down here, they've navigated you successfully through this space using decentralization as a mantra of sorts to extract 90% of the value from the top from Terra Luna Classic. And many of you, come into like my comment section and defend it. I mean, the data's in the numbers. So what does that mean? Well, I mean, it means that 90% of the value of Terra Luna Classic under the guise of we're going to be more decentralized is right here. It's the easiest way to judge, right? I mean, are we judging success and failure? What are we using as our litmus test to judge that success and failure? What are you using? Let me know in the comment section, by the way, down below. I'm generally curious about what you think is working about it. So, let me know. Now, there are a lot of cryptos that are like this. I'm not saying that this is exclusive to Terra Luna Classic. There are a lot of cryptos that are down significantly. I'm not saying that they're not, okay? There are significant declines in cryptocurrency. But if we look top to bottom from a reasonable time frame, then I think that you're going to see that this right here at over 90% or around 90% loss, that's pretty catastrophic when you... Just to give you an example, from the same period of time, how far down is Ethereum from that period of time? Well, that's down 71%. So, 20% variance to the downside from Ethereum. And by the way, I'm using Ethereum raw. I'm using a raw number, a raw amount of data from Ethereum, showing you, kind of where that top is and where we are right now. I'm not using a collapse. So could that 20% from the collapse be the difference maker? That is possible. However, here's another collapse. Okay, this collapse went all the way down to $8 from $2.95. Now, if ever there was a moment where you could look at it and be like, oh my God, recovery chance? Yeah. Well, let's go here to where we're 54% when you're talking about Solana. And during that period of time, you witnessed the 90% collapse, I want to say, or very, very close to it, 96%. So we did witness an absolute collapse. But guess what? Then we got this big reversal and boom, eventually came up and retested an all-time high. So could that happen with Terra Luna Classic? Yes, it could. What's the difference between Solana and Terra Luna Classic? Solana has stewardship. Solana has people who are working actively and communicating and effectively managing the day-to-days of that ecosystem, making that happen. If you went to solana.org, there's a website. If you go to lunk.org, there's no website. If you go to Terra Luna Classic, pick one. There's no official website. We don't even have a website. We don't even have a website. Ethereum has a website. Solana has a website. This is simple stuff, okay? These are simple things that we got to be more decentralized is failing you on completely. And again, if you don't believe me, check your wallet. Now on to what happens next. So, picture perfect so far. We gave you this one. Now, we gave it to you over here saying that this was probably going to happen, and I didn't know whether it was going to happen or not. I mean, full disclosure, you guys know that. I tell you this all the time. I didn't know that we were going to get that perfect bounce off of what I'm saying is going to happen, and that it was going to then, boom, start to reverse. Now, it hasn't reversed to, we need this top range here to confirm that what I'm saying is accurate, and, it's going to take a few days, if it even happens. So, we could see just a massive sort of move here happen as the markets really start to send. Now, it's going to be about a thirst for some risk on asset, and it's going to be about, things coming to pass and coming into play, all happening at one time. Let me tell you what I could see happening here. One of the interesting things is that USDC thing. We get a phased approach to bringing USDC on the chain. We bring USDC on the chain, and then that makes Juris Protocol more valuable, because now Juris Protocol is using USDC as part of its ecosystem, and I think that represents a good lending protocol, and having USDC there actually, it really and truly helps tremendously to make this better. It really does. Now, you could look at this and say, by the way, that RSI is a little bit cooked, so I would expect to see tiny bit correction here. That was a big move right there, and that consolidation down, which we've seen these pennants playing out right now, telling me, or at least indicating to me, that there could be a big move coming. Maybe the same move that we just had right here, this little pop, if you will, might finish up here at about 63.57. This is not. I'm splitting hairs at this point, by the way, saying that something like that's going to come over here over the next little while. I just think that that's one of those things that could happen at that point. But the point is that we're in the right direction right now, moving to the positive, and I think that's going to continue. I think this market really wants to send. Here's the thing. I think this market and all the everybody really wants to see a big move from this project right now, and the markets in general. I think a lot of people are kind of frustrated that it hasn't happened right now. Institutions are even incentivized. They know that they're missing a boat, and they're looking at that basket of tax returns and stuff like that. And this was easy money for them, and world circumstances didn't really give them an opportunity. So tariff stuff like that have caused a slowdown. So institution, they're ready to get back in the game. I am telling you right now, they're ready to get back in the game, and the Trump administration is ready for them to do it. So I would anticipate some real moves coming in the next days to find places to inject positivity and opportunity into the crypto market. So I don't think we're out of the woods, but I do think that we're going to fight right now for that reversal, and I think that we've got this administration on our side. Now, USTC, I want to say, is following the same trajectory. Let me know in the comment section what you think of USTC. USTC is not following along nearly as robustly as what I would like to see. And again, I'm going to point it out. I'm not a fan of USTC in its current form, the way that things are breaking out right now. And you can see right here, instead of, we got the spike and then we got the move, and it just really hasn't taken off. And I would like to see a little bit more on USTC at this point. It could be that I'm just looking at a chart, but that felt really strong when I look at that. But I suppose maybe it's just doing the same thing. But the point, I expected a little bit more from USTC, not just the same that we were already getting, if that makes sense. I was expecting a little bit more out of it over the last bunch of days, especially with that LFG burn, stuff like that happened. And it just really did not. This was an inopportune moment to see that happen, I guess. You can maybe make an argument that, it was ready to go over here a couple days ago when that big burn happened, but we just didn't take off. Failure to launch, I suppose. So that doesn't bode well for capping out up here. The chart structure tells me that it's probably going to happen, but I don't have that confidence level. And, this was pretty aggressive right here. This is not nearly as aggressive. I think we need another one of these right here, just kind of, just flaring our way up and trying to, hit one of these tops and get some exit, just get into position where we can move past this resistance, if you will. So I just, again, I'm not confident. I think that it's going to happen, but I think it's going to be lethargic. And, I put it up here because I'm looking at it to be aggressive, but the idea here is more likely like kind of coming down here. We could see this still go up a little bit and then sideways before we actually have that breakout. So it's looking more like that right now. Volume continues to be a problem on both projects. Burns down to 372 million. We could use a lot more burning. Only burned 6 million today. 35 million yesterday, 24 day before, 137 million day before that, 65 million. So, we've had a couple of days here where we could run 137 a day. That's not optimal, but that's closer to a billion. We need, by the way, again, I'm going to say it one more time. We need 2 billion a week to really show some effect, but we're not close to there. Could be trade volume is just really, really down at this point. We're looking at speculative money, and we're looking at that Asian money trying to come in. And I do think that we should fundamentally think here, Luna, Classic, and USTC, they really are Asian-led projects. Korea's, China, I think that was that ecosystem. That's where, a lot of that money came from. And with them fighting tariff wars with the United States right now, or with, everybody's fighting it, but particularly the Asian continent, I think it's creating a problem with adding liquidity into Asian-based cryptos. When you come back over here, you can see that, XRP having a good lift today, I would think. Ethereum, Solana, some of these other ones, and by the way, they're not all USA, but I think the Asian, combined with a lack of enthusiasm generally in the crypto market, and the Asian market still having their own sort of struggles, might be causing a little bit of a problem. Here's what I'll say. If China opens the floodgate and allows cryptocurrency, then all of this is done. Within 24 hours, we are in we're going to explode. I think all the markets are going to explode, especially some of those Asian-based things like Conflux, which, to me is one of those blockchains, the public blockchain in China, which I think is a big deal. So I think something like that, something like Terra Luna Classic, USTC, I think all of those things would start to really sort of rip. And if we found a path forward for USTC, for those large burns, I think 382 million that are kind of sitting there, if we get those burned and out of the way instead of sold, if we get those burned, that's a huge boon for the ecosystem and would lead to a rally. And some sort of repeg in which we could do trading and burn. If you build it, they will come. Nobody's built it, so nobody's coming. So, it's pretty simple. These decentralized people who are telling you that everything has to be so incredibly decentralized that there's no leadership are misleading and deceiving you, because it's a pie in the sky wish that doesn't come to fruition because there's no leader. So vote believes 2025. Anyway, that's my time. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's not financial advice, but I'm over.